from our living room to your living room with Aspire TV with our guest today, Pavita Singh. Welcome, Pavita. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Great. I'm so glad you could join us.
Thank you. Same here.
You are a very well-rounded lady, and I can't wait to share with the viewers today. So let's start with where were you born and where did you grow up?
Yeah. So the joke that I always make is that I haven't grown up yet. um, but but I was born in Princeton, New Jersey. But I actually moved around a lot growing up. So
Why is that?
So primarily for my dad's work. But then also just school and study abroad. So I've kind of lived all over. Most of my life has been back and forth between East Coast and West Coast. Total, I've lived in California, Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Washington, D.C., and then sometime internationally in England and Germany for study abroad.
Wonderful. That's amazing. Well, let's talk first about your childhood. So you said you traveled a lot when you were a child. Because your father's work. What does your father do?
So he has a very diverse background as well. So at present, he is a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley. But when I was growing up, he was working for Siemens Medical, a company based in Germany. So he kind of worked his way up the Siemens ladder. And at one point, he was running their oncology division, and then one point running multiple companies within their medical division. So he was with Siemens for 20 years. Before I was born, he was in academia. He has his PhD from Columbia, where he studied computer science and neurobiology. Wow. And then he started off his career doing research, actually at Princeton. So he was in academia doing research and teaching, had a chance meeting with one of the executives at Siemens, and they offered him a position, and so he took that. He did that for 20 years. After 20 years there, he moved to the Bay Area to run a biotech startup, sold that after 2 years, and now he's working in venture capital and also teaching at Stanford at the medical school there, and is on the board of several health tech-based companies.
Thank you. Your father has lived an amazing life. He's someone we should know, right? And that is the reason for your moving around when you were younger.
Yeah.
So you had a great upbringing. It sounds like your father was very successful and still is. And he's the kind of person I want to know, hint, hint, with the venture capitalist, right?
Yeah.
My businesses. But that led you to, no problems growing up. You never no crises.
No, so I didn't have any crises or any major problems. I would say it was hard moving around so much growing up. I think it's hard for any kid to be taken out of an environment and then have to be placed into a new one. But yes. I think I would say overall I coped with it very well. It is challenging because I can't say that I necessarily have childhood friends that I've, grown up with and known ever since I was little, but let me
stop you right there. So you had no childhood friends because you moved around so much.
Right. Or yeah, because this was back in the day before Facebook and all kinds of social media that we have today. Now, granted, because of Facebook and other social media, I have been able to get in touch with people that I went to elementary school, middle school, high school with, but I didn't have the same group of childhood friends that a lot of people who may have lived in one place had. So that was always a little bit challenging growing up, but I would say that in retrospect, I'm grateful for the experience because now, I have the experience of having lived in different places, and it's just something that's made my story more interesting.
Well, all right. Once you graduate high school, right, you went on to college. Why don't you tell everybody where you went to college and what was your major?
Yeah, so I did my undergrad at NYU, and I kind of created my own field of study. So I did gender and sexuality studies, linguistics, and child and adolescent mental health. And then for my final thesis, I kind of combined all of those subjects. So my thesis looked at mental health treatment among Indian immigrant women in the US. And then from there, I went on to do my master's. So I have my master's in public health from Yale, and I concentrated in social and behavioral sciences. And my thesis there looked at cyberbullying behaviors among adolescent girls in dating relationships, and looking at how involvement in this cyber bullying or cyber intimate partner violence is associated with a variety of mental health outcomes.
Wow. That's a lot. I'm going, oh my God, I got tired just listening to it. That's a lot of studies. And they all wrap somewhat together, somewhat not. So they're a little different a little bit. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember my niece was bullied in high school, and, you know, the teacher walked out of the room so they could bully her. And that was so wrong, you know? All right. So why did you choose each one? Is there a reason?
Yeah, so for my undergraduate thesis, looking at mental health treatment among Indian immigrant women, I would say a lot of that is propelled by my personal experiences. So I have had my own struggles with anxiety and depression. And, you know, in my case, I've been very lucky because I've had, you know, a supportive family and have had the resources to cope with that. But, you know, I've found that there are a lot of people who don't necessarily have the resources to cope with that. And in a lot of cases, there's a lot of stigma around mental health issues, especially if you look at immigrant communities or minority communities. There are a lot of cultural stigmas surrounding mental health issues. And, you know, in my case, I've been lucky that I haven't had to deal with a ton of that. But, you know, just looking at my ethnic community at large, I do find that that's a huge problem. And so I kind of use my own personal experiences with mental health combined with the experiences of people that I've talked to, and that kind of propelled me in my professional path. And I wanted to use that to empower other people who might be struggling with, you know, really deep-rooted issues, but who don't have the space to talk about it, or, you know, who haven't been listened to, or, you know, have had a lot of negative outcomes in their lives as a result of struggles that haven't been addressed. And so that was the impetus for my undergraduate thesis. My graduate thesis was, you know, also mental health related, which speaks to my passion for mental health. I chose that particular topic because, you know, as part of the Master's in Public Health program, students are required to do internships. And so for my summer internship, I interned at Stanford University. I was working with a professor there, developing a relationship all about healthy relationships and healthy living for high school girls. And so we did a series of pilot programs in high schools for girls in the San Francisco, San Jose Bay Area. And, you know, one of the topics that we looked at was cyberbullying and cyber intimate partner violence. And so we did a series of surveys that looked at their involvement in cyberbullying or cyber intimate partner violence, and then matched those to a number of mental health outcomes. And so that was the impetus for my graduate research.
Okay, wow, that's a lot. Now, tell me, out of all of them, are you passionate? Well, let me back up. Are you passionate about all of them?
Yes.
Okay. So with that, you currently, once you graduate, you're a young woman, I can tell. So how long ago did you graduate college?
So I graduated college 8 years ago, and I graduated grad school 6 years ago.
Okay. And what have you been doing since you graduated?
Yeah. So my first job out of school, well, my very first job out of school, I was actually working at the Student Affairs Office at the Yale School of Public Health. I was doing that part-time. And then in addition, doing a lot of volunteer projects. My first full-time job out of school was at a biotech startup in the Bay Area. And what we were working on there was developing an at-home device for rapid at-home STI testing or other infectious disease testing, but starting with STIs. So I was there for 9 months, and
that's a lot.
Yeah, I was there for 9 months, and I was working primarily on the marketing and business development side of things, and a little bit of user experience and user interface research.
How did you like that?
So It was interesting work, and definitely a subject that I'm very interested in, but I found that the company culture wasn't the right fit for me. So I decided to leave after 9 months and just kind of started doing some stuff on my own. So I freelanced. I was doing an online apprenticeship with a publication called Elephant Journal, which is an online publication all about mindfulness and healthy living. So I was doing an apprenticeship with them, doing writing, editing, and social media. And then from there, a lot of freelance.
I like that.
I loved it. I loved it.
How long were you with them?
So I did the apprenticeship for a semester, and then I was a TA for the summer semester. So I took the apprenticeship the spring semester, and then I TA'd the summer semester. And then I've been writing with them for a while. So
let me back up here. For people that don't know what TA means, it's a teacher's assistant. So
right.
People don't know that. So I just want to make sure that people out there that are listening today, and thank you for listening in, that's what the TA means. Go ahead, finish up.
Yeah, so I was working with them in that capacity for 2 semesters, and then I'd been doing freelance writing and editing work for them. And
how do you like that?
I love it.
Why don't we talk about that a few minutes? You said you've been freelance and writing. What was you would feel your most successful writing material thus far?
Most successful writing material. Well, that's tricky. I mean, I would say that that the material that I've enjoyed working on the most have to do with issues around health and well-being, issues around education, issues around empowerment of girls and women. I think, different pieces have been successful in different ways. I would say one, if we're measuring success by number of views and an amount of engagement, I would say one of the most successful ones that I wrote would have been, I believe this was in 2016. And it was a piece on 10 children's books that we should all reread as adults. And that one got a lot of attention, both on the website and on.
Do you want to tell us the 10 books?
Yeah, I could pull that up very quickly.
I think for people at home, these are the 10 books you should read as an adult. So this interests me. I write children's books now, so
right.
I just keep adding to my career life.
Yeah. So yeah, 10 children's books that we should all reread as adults. The Little Engine That Could.
Oh, yeah.
Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Charlotte's Web.
Yeah, there you go.
Mockingbird.
Mm-hmm.
Tico and the Golden Wings.
Mm-hmm.
Number the Stars.
Mm-hmm.
The Great Gilly Hopkins.
Okay.
Make Way for Ducklings.
Okay.
I Am Going, which is part of the Elephant and Piggy series.
All right.
And my personal favorite, Winnie the Pooh.
Oh, yay, Winnie, he made it. Well, very good. So now you've been writing for a while now. Yeah. You said that some of the things you enjoy, right? You have hobbies of yoga,
mm-hmm.
reading, writing, creative arts, cooking, dancing, baking, social media, napping, laughing, learning, listening to people. My gosh, telling funny stories and jokes, and traveling. So far, you've traveled to 38 countries and 24 United States ones, and you're excited to keep going. So let's talk about your traveling. What was your most favorite country, your most worst country, and one that you just can't wait to go back to?
Yeah.
And tell us why.
Yeah, so I would say that I have 2 countries on my favorite list, and those would be Costa Rica and Portugal. And I think the things that I love most about both places was just the warm and loving culture. When you visit it, no matter who you're seeing, it feels like family, and they just have such a warm and welcoming environment, which is something that very much attracts me. Part of the reason that I love Portugal so much is I was doing an art apprenticeship there. So I was actually working with an artist in a town called Lousada, Portugal, which is a small suburb outside of Porto. And so I was staying with her and, experiencing.
What was that like?
I know, experiencing Portuguese.
I'm listening going, well, you lived the life. My gosh, that's amazing.
Thank you.
I would love to. I mean, I'm working at an art studio in Portugal. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, I got to, really experience the Portuguese culture all while, working in an art studio and learning different painting techniques. So that was an incredible experience. In Costa Rica, I was attending a travel writers workshop. And, in addition to the culture, one of the things that I really love about Costa Rica is their emphasis on wellness tourism. And, just because, healthy living and wellness is really integrated into the travel experience. And it's something that they take very seriously there as part of their culture. So that's something that I loved about Costa Rica. I would say one of my most important and influential travel experiences was my time in Kenya. So I was in Kenya last year, and for part of the time, for the first week, I was attending a travel photography workshop. So I got to go on safaris, experience the wildlife,
amazing.
Learn how to do photography.
You went on a safari?
Yeah, I did.
What was that like? I've always wanted to go on a safari.
It was incredible. It was incredible. It was also my first.
Believe half the stuff you've done. It's crazy. You're so young. So go ahead. Tell us about the safari. Tell us about the safari.
Yeah. So first of all, it was my first experience with photography using a proper camera outside of my iPhone. So that was definitely something. But yeah, really just getting up close and personal with the animals and seeing how they live their lives. It just gives you a whole new appreciation for the interconnection.
Were you near lions?
I did see lions. I saw baby lions and their moms, which were.
Oh, were you close to them?
I got really.
And they didn't attack?
No.
They don't attack people?
They don't attack people. I mean, we were with trained tour guides the entire time who also know, what to do if there is a situation, if an animal gets aggressive. But I mean, as long as you follow all of the proper protocols about staying at a certain distance and not doing anything to, disrespect their habitat, you shouldn't come across any issues.
What were some of the wild animals you saw besides lions?
Oh, so definitely a lot of elephants and giraffes. A lot of
elephants.
I know, one of my favorite animals. So yeah, yes. Two of my favorites are the elephants and giraffes. And one of the best parts was actually getting to see the elephants and the giraffes together, which was quite the experience. Let's see, there were zebras, there were rhinoceroses, hippopotamuses. What else? Hyenas. Lions. There weren't any tigers, but yeah, a lot of lions, antelope. Yeah, those are some of the.
You've seen quite a few.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So from there, so this was last year?
Yeah, this was last year. Yeah, so the first week was a travel photography workshop and the safari. The second week, I was actually working with my organization, Girls Health Ed. And I was giving workshops on health education to girls in some of the remote villages and urban slums.
What was that like? Sad?
These girls are amazingly optimistic and hopeful and extremely ambitious. I think it was an important experience because it, really reinforced my own privilege and how lucky I've been to be given certain opportunities growing up that not everybody has access to. But I mean, even considering the circumstances in which many of these girls have grown up, I didn't see anybody who was sad. They were all so happy. They were so thrilled for the opportunity to be in school at all and, to meet somebody coming from a different country, to learn the things that we were teaching in the workshops. So we talked to them about, self-esteem and goal setting and positive self-image, and then also issues around reproductive health and menstrual hygiene management. I saw nothing but excitement and optimism from these girls. So that was really nice to see.
Okay. Wow. You're an amazing woman.
Thank you.
And have you joined our group called Woman Empowering Women Group?
I believe I saw something about that on Facebook.
Yeah, please join that. I'm going to be sharing this video today within that group.
Okay.
I'll be sharing it on Aspire TV as well as the Aspire magazine. We're also going to be doing a follow-up with you for Aspire magazine for an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And did we talk to you about being a guest speaker for the Women Empowering Women Group, right?
Yes.
So we'll be talking to you for the conferences, right? So we got
Mm-hmm.
one in Maine, and hopefully it's going to be June 13th, but right now we don't know because we don't know, right? Because of the crazy thing going on. If people want to look for you, where would they find you?
Yeah, so they can find me on Facebook at Pavita Singh. Instagram, I'm at Pavidoodles. They can also feel free to email me, pavitasingh.mph14@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. And those are the best ways to get in touch with me.
And currently, what is you considered your favorite job? Because you're doing a few things right now before
I can't choose a favorite. They're all things that I love very much. But currently, I'm working as the acting executive director of Girls Health Ed, director of content and communications at Conversi, which is an ed tech startup, and I am the editor of my own editing business, Pavedita.
And then you and I are going to be working together, hopefully, right, for the magazine. In closing, what is some empowering words or encouragement words you want to say to women or other men or whoever watching, listening to your interview today?
Yeah, empowering words. Enjoy your life. There are so many opportunities, even amongst the craziness that we have going on these days. There's always a silver lining to look for. Trust the universe. It knows what it's doing, but don't be afraid to march to the beat of your own drum, to follow where your North Star takes you, and to just be yourself. Because no matter who you are, what your circumstances in life are, you do have a story that other people want to hear, and you do have valuable experiences that other people want to learn from and can benefit from, whether they're sitting across the street or halfway across the world. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to share your story. Believe me, it does have value. And just enjoy life and go after the things that make you happy. And if you ever need a friend or somebody to talk to, I'm here.
And you'll tell them a joke, right? Well, you are an amazing woman. I believe we're going to be seeing some amazing things come through your life because you are just incredible. We're looking forward to having you at our Women Empower Women conferences, and we're going to do a follow-up story with the magazine. I'm hoping to get some of those pictures. If you have pictures from the host safari, I want to add that in the magazine. How cool is that, right?
Absolutely.
Well, we thank you for your interview today on Aspire TV, from our living room to yours. I hope you enjoyed our interview, and look for Pavita up. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.